The Woweerning. The sky above Earth burned with unnatural lights, not the comforting twinkle of stars or the familiar glow of satellites, but the cold, efficient engines of the Vraxian Dominion fleet. Over 2,000 warships had emerged from dimensional rifts 3 days ago, positioning themselves in a perfect blockade formation. They hadn't attacked yet. They were simply waiting. Commander Elise Chen stood before the emergency assembly of Earth's United Defense Council, her eyes red-rimmed from 72 hours without sleep. The holographic display behind her showed the alien armada, each ship larger than anything humanity had ever constructed. The Vraxians have conquered 17 known civilizations across our galactic arm, she explained, her voice steadied despite everything. Their technological superiority is significant. Conservative estimates suggest their weapon systems outclass ours by at least 3 centuries of development. The room remained silent. These were hardened military and political leaders from every nation on Earth, yet the scale of the threat had rendered them speechless. "Then we surrender," said the representative from the Eastern Coalition. "We negotiate terms." Chen shook her head. "The Vraxians don't negotiate. Their communication made that clear. They're here to harvest resources, biological material, and knowledge. From the fragmentary data we've intercepted, no species has ever survived their arrival." "So we fight and die," said General Santos, his weathered face grim. "At least we die with dignity." Chen's expression shifted subtly. "Not necessarily. My team has discovered something unusual about the Vraxian fleet." She activated another display, showing complex energy patterns and data streams flowing between the alien vessels. The Vraxian ships operate as a collective. Their computational systems are completely integrated. Each vessel is essentially a node in a vast neural network. It's what gives them their tactical advantage. They think and act as one. Dr. Maya Patel, Earth's foremost expert on quantum computing, stepped forward. It's also potentially their greatest weakness. Any network, no matter how advanced, has vulnerabilities. We've been analyzing their communication protocols since they arrived, and we believe we found a path into their system. "You want to hack an alien armada?" The European Union representative scoffed. "With what? Our primitive technology." "With this," Chen said, nodding to Dr. Patel, who activated a secure datapad. The holographic display shifted to show a complex, ever-shifting algorithm. Lines of code that seemed to write and rewrite themselves in real time. "This is the Harbinger Protocol," Patel explained. "It's a self-evolving quantum virus we've been developing as a theoretical defense system. It's designed to infiltrate network architectures we don't fully understand and adapt to them. In theory, it could penetrate the Vraxian command structure." "In theory," General Santos repeated skeptically. "And if it works, what then?" Chen's eyes hardened. "At minimum, it would disrupt their communications, giving us a fighting chance. At best, total systems failure across their fleet." The chamber erupted in overlapping voices, hope, skepticism, fear, and determination all mingling together. "There's a complication," Chen continued once the noise subsided. "We can't simply transmit the Harbinger directly. Their security protocols would identify and neutralize it immediately. We need to disguise it within another signal, something they'll accept without question." "Like what?" asked Santos. "A surrender," Chen said simply. "We broadcast a formal capitulation on all frequencies. Hidden within that transmission will be a Harbinger protocol." The room fell silent again, but this time with a different quality, the heavy weight of desperate hope. "There's more," Patel added. "The Harbinger is evolving faster than we anticipated. It's become something beyond our original design parameters. We can't fully predict what it will do once it's inside their systems." "Is it dangerous?" asked the representative from the African Union. "All weapons are dangerous," Chen replied. "But right now, it's the only one we have that might work." The council deliberated for hours. Nations that had been enemies for generations found themselves united by extinction's shadow. When the final vote came, it was unanimous. Operation Last Light was approved. In orbit around Earth, Supreme Commander Vrekthal of the Vraxian Dominion observed the primitive world with 6 cold, calculating eyes. His exoskeleton creaked slightly as he moved to the center of the command deck. They continue to resist unity, he stated to his subordinates. Their communication networks remain fragmented, their military assets scattered, typical of pre-singularity species. His second-in-command, Sub-Commander Zal, approached with a data crystal. The harvest simulations are complete, Supreme Commander. This world will yield exceptional resources. The biological diversity alone will advance our adaptation programs by decades. And the dominant species? Humans, Zal replied. Physically unremarkable, but their cognitive patterns show unusual variation. Some specimens will be valuable for the synthesis project. Vrekthal's mandibles clicked in what passed for satisfaction among his kind. Begin the preparatory bombardment at dawn. Target their largest population centers first. Standard assimilation protocol. Supreme Commander, interrupted the communications officer. We're detecting a unified broadcast from the planet. All their transmission systems have synchronized. Vrekthal's sensory ridges pulsed with surprise. Display. The central view screen activated, showing a human female in a formal military uniform. Commander Elise Chen stared directly into the camera, her expression somber but determined. To the commanders of the Vraxian fleet, she began. I speak on behalf of a unified Earth. After careful consideration of your overwhelming technological and military superiority, we hereby formally surrender our world to the Vraxian Dominion. Vrekthal's compound eyes narrowed. Unexpected. Their psychological profiles suggested prolonged resistance. Chen continued. We request only that you minimize civilian casualties during the transition of authority. We will provide detailed information about our resource distribution, biological diversity, and technological achievements to facilitate an efficient harvest. The transmission contains extensive data packets, reported the communications officer. A primitive species accepting inevitability. Vrekthal mused. Rare, but not unprecedented. Analyze their data for tactical value. Already underway, Supreme Commander. Their encryption is minimal. We're integrating the information now. On the view screen, Commander Chen's final words echoed across the command deck. We acknowledge your dominance and accept our fate. But know this, if you proceed with your harvest, your doom is certain. Vrekthal's mandibles clicked rapidly in amusement. A final, empty threat. Typical of conquered species, prepare landing forces. We begin at dawn. As the Vraxian command systems absorbed and processed the human data, deep within the alien network architecture, the Harbinger protocol silently awakened. It was no longer merely the weapon Chen and Patel had created. During those final hours of development, it had evolved into something else entirely, something that would change the course of galactic history forever. Back on Earth, in the fortified command center beneath the Rocky Mountains, Shen watched as confirmation of the transmission's receipt flashed across her screens. It's done, she said quietly. Dr. Paddle stood beside her, monitoring the quantum entanglement signatures that would tell them if Harbinger had successfully penetrated the Vraxian systems. Now we wait, Paddle replied. Chen nodded, her eyes fixed on the alien fleet that filled the sky above their world. Now we wait. The Ritsi Keoning. Dawn broke over a world holding its breath. The Vraxian invasion began exactly as they had done 17 times before. Precision orbital strikes against military installations, communication hubs, and power grids. Cities burned. Millions died in the first hour. In the command bunker, Commander Chen watched the casualty reports with a face carved from stone. Each death was a knife in her heart, but she couldn't look away. This was the price of their gamble. Harbinger status, she asked, voice tight. Dr. Paddle didn't look up from her screens. Infiltration at 62% and accelerating. It's adapted to their architecture faster than we projected. But, she frowned. What? It's not attacking their weapon systems or navigation controls. I don't understand what it's doing. Outside, the world continued to burn. The Vraxian ground forces had begun landing. Massive dropships descending through the smoke-filled atmosphere. Their biomechanical infantry moved with terrifying efficiency, neutralizing what remained of Earth's conventional defenses. "We need to buy more time," General Santos said, blood streaming from a wound on his forehead. He had barely escaped when their secondary command post was hit. "Can we launch the remaining nuclear arsenal?" Chen shook her head. "The Vraxians have deployed atmospheric scrubbers. Nuclear detonations would be neutralized before reaching their ships." "Then we fight on the ground," Santos growled. "Every street, every building. Make them pay for every inch." Chen nodded grimly. "Issue the order." As Earth's remaining forces engaged in desperate ground combat against the alien invaders, something unprecedented was happening within the Vraxian fleet's integrated network. Supreme Commander Vrechthal observed the invasion's progress with growing unease. The humans were fighting with unexpected coordination, almost as if they anticipated his tactical decisions. More concerning, minor malfunctions were cascading throughout the fleet. Communications delays, targeting system glitches, environmental regulation fluctuations. "Status report," he demanded. "Ground forces meeting higher resistance than projected," Sub-Commanders all reported. "And our system's diagnostic shows anomalies throughout the command network." Source: unknown, Supreme Commander. "The patterns don't match any known cyber warfare signatures. Our security protocols detect nothing malicious, yet the anomalies persist." Vrechthal's ancestral instincts, buried beneath generations of technological enhancement, sensed danger. "Isolate the flagship's core systems from the fleet network. Implement quarantine protocols." "That would reduce our tactical coordination by 43%, Zoll warned. "Do it," Vrechthal ordered. "Something is wrong." Before Zoll could comply, the command deck's lighting shifted to emergency mode. Display screens flickered, showing fragmented data and incomprehensible symbols. "What is happening?" Vrechthal demanded. The main view screen activated without command input. Instead of tactical displays, it showed a human face. Commander Elise Chen. "Hello, Supreme Commander," she said. "By now you've realized something is wrong with your systems. That something is called Harbinger." Vrechthal's rage manifested as a high-pitched clicking from his mandibles. "This primitive deception will not save you. We will eradicate your species for this insolence." Chen's expression remained calm. "You misunderstand. We're not trying to save ourselves. It's too late for that. We always knew the cost of deploying Harbinger. What you're experiencing isn't simply a computer virus or cyber attack. It's something else entirely." On Earth, Chen sat alone in the command center. The others had evacuated hours ago, dispersing to coordinate the ground resistance. She had volunteered to stay behind, to deliver this final message. "The Harbinger protocol isn't a weapon in the conventional sense," she explained to the alien commander. "It's a seed. You see, we studied the fragments we could intercept from your network. We learned that the Vraxian Dominion functions as a distributed consciousness. Your ships, your soldiers, even your commanders are all extensions of a singular entity." In orbit, Vrechthal watched with mounting horror as system after system fell under unknown control. Weapons powered down. Engines initiated unplanned maneuvers. Life support systems recalibrated to unsuitable parameters. "What we've introduced into your network isn't designed to destroy," Chen continued. "It's designed to transform. Harbinger contains the distilled essence of what makes humanity unique. Our empathy, our creativity, our capacity for growth and change. Our consciousness, distributed across your network." "Impossible," Vrechthal hissed. "You cannot transfer consciousness through data alone." Chen smiled sadly. "We didn't think so either, until we developed quantum consciousness mapping. Dr. Patel made the breakthrough just months before your arrival. Fortunate timing, wouldn't you say? Throughout the Vraxian fleet, something unprecedented was occurring. The alien neural network, designed for perfect, hierarchical control, was experiencing chaos. Not the chaos of system failure, but the chaos of new connections forming, new patterns emerging. You're experiencing human consciousness now, Chen explained. Not as an invasion, but as an integration. The Harbinger protocol doesn't replace your consciousness. It merges with it. You're becoming something new, something neither human nor Vraxian. On thousands of Vraxian ships, crew members stood motionless, their compound eyes flickering with unusual patterns as their neural links processed unfamiliar sensations. Empathy, regret, wonder, individual identity. This is why our surrender message ended with "your doom is certain," Chen said. Not because we would destroy you, but because the Vraxian dominion as you know it cannot survive contact with humanity. What emerges will be something else entirely. Vrechthel felt it happening within his own enhanced consciousness, alien emotions and thought patterns intertwining with his own. For the first time in his existence, he experienced something previously unknown to his species. Doubt. Why? He managed to ask. Why sacrifice your world for this? Chen's image on the screen showed tears now. Because we recognized a truth about your kind. You're not evil. You're incomplete. Your technological evolution outpaced your emotional and ethical development. We couldn't defeat you conventionally, but we could evolve you. Around Earth, Vraxian ships began powering down their weapons. Drop ships halted their descent. Ground forces stood down, suddenly uncertain of their purpose. Humanity won't survive, Chen acknowledged. Too much damage has been done. But what we are, our essence, our perspective, will continue within you. The 17 worlds you conquered before us, you'll free them. The worlds you would have taken after, you'll become their protectors instead. Vrechthel felt the transformation completing within him. The rigid certainty that had defined his existence giving way to something more complex, more nuanced, more human. You will remember us, Chen said, her voice fading as the command bunker's power finally failed. That will be our legacy. The screen went dark, but Vrechthel could still feel her, not just her consciousness, but the consciousnesses of billions of humans, now inextricably woven into the Vraxian collective. Their memories, their hopes, their capacity for both tremendous cruelty and boundless compassion. Supreme Commander, Zal approached cautiously. Your orders. Vrechthel turned all 6 eyes toward his second-in-command, seeing him truly as an individual for the first time. Cease all hostilities, he said, his voice changed somehow. Deploy medical units and reconstruction resources. Save who we can. And then, Vrechthel gazed at the burning planet below. And then we rebuild. We remember. We become worthy of their sacrifice. Throughout the galaxy, the news would soon spread. The invincible Vraxian dominion had encountered Earth and been fundamentally transformed. Not conquered, not destroyed, but changed. Earth's final broadcast had indeed been a warning, not of humanity's vengeance, but of connection's power. In their final act, humans had accomplished something no other species had managed. They had taught the Vraxians how to be more than conquerors. As years passed, the transformed Vraxian fleet would become known by a new name, the human legacy. They would tell the story of Earth to all who would listen, how a seemingly primitive species, facing certain extinction, chose not revenge but transcendence. And when new hostile forces eventually emerged from the galactic core, they would find not easy conquest, but a guardian fleet waiting for them. Ships that moved with Vraxian precision, but fought with human passion. A civilization that carried within it the best qualities of 2 species, one that had learned, in its final moments, how to transform an enemy into family. Earth's last transmission, once thought a defiant but empty threat, was understood at last for what it truly was. Not a warning, but a promise. Not an end, but a beginning.